We are live here with my good friend BC, Mr. Bryan Casella. How you doing, man?
What's up, bro? Good to be on here. AJ, good to see you.
You too, man. After this whole COVID-19 clears up, hopefully I can get back out to California and we can hang out.
I know, right? Yeah, everything's shut down. And I know you just had an earthquake too, right?
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Crazy times. But I know you're thriving. I'm thriving. So life is still good, man. It's all how you handle the external, right?
Yeah, dude. And stuff is always going to happen, dude, whether it's this or something else. I mean, there's always going to be some glaring issue that can stop, you from doing something if you really let it. And That's kind of been my focus. It's just really staying as normal as possible, we can say, and sticking to the activities that got me here, regardless of what's going on the outside as much as possible,
Yep, exactly. So let's dive in. So I wanted to chat with you today about really how you've built this social media empire. I think in terms of like just real estate agents, not real estate coaches, but just real estate agents who are selling real estate. I think you're like the number one channel out there, like in terms of subscribers. So that's pretty cool. So I want to talk about that. Yeah. I also want to talk about how you get so much engagement on Instagram and Facebook, because I see your lives all the time, and we've had previous conversations about that. So we'll dive into that. But first, let's just chat real briefly, like when you got into real estate and what that first year looked like.
Yeah. 2013, I think August, I got officially licensed. Prior to that, I was snooping around my Century 21 office, going to trainings and learning stuff just so I could kind of hit the ground running and not feel so, naked and new with no direction. So I was studying my scripts and that kind of stuff. I get into the business, man, and just a lot of hard work, a lot of, the grind, going door to door, making cold calls, getting rejected and that kind of stuff. And it just simultaneously, it seemed like right after that, pretty much, I think within a couple months, I started fooling around with doing video, and I started seeing the effect that it would have on people when I made video, right? Like following up with clients. If they weren't answering the phone, I was sending them a video, and I noticed they always watched it. They always responded. They always reacted to it, versus sometimes when you leave people a message or a voicemail, they won't call you back or acknowledge that they got it, right? So I'm building my business. My first year, I think I did 14 transactions. It was 14 or 15, right? The first couple months, I got 1 or 2. Then I hit a dry spell. And then I kind of hit that momentum after about 3 or 4 months where I was getting like 1 deal a month. But I really just then started doing video a little bit. It was like once a week I was posting a YouTube video. I'd go live every once in a while. I started being more active on Instagram. So in the beginning stages, video and social media wasn't too big for me, but I was already like, okay, this is something I need to start. I was more focused on that hustle and grind of just building my business. And that's kind of how that first year started.
Yeah, it's so funny, man. I know we kind of got started around the same time. And I remember that first video you put up. And if you guys don't follow Bryan on YouTube, check out his channel, subscribe to it, and go back and watch those first videos. And Colton and I, we reached out to you and we're like, hey, man, let's start this mastermind group. And ever since then, we've all stayed close and just continued to all grow our businesses really from nothing. So it's been a lot of fun. So, I mean, that was probably 2013 you put your first video up?
Yeah, I think the video you're referring to, it's still up. I think it has like 40 or 50,000 views at this point. It's called My Real Estate Story. And all it gives is, I think it's like a 7 or 8 minute video where I literally have my suit on and like my little name badge and I still have braces, right? Because I just got them again. And I just told people why I got into real estate. Because at that time, a lot of people were like, dude, they were just kind of finding me. So I made that video to kind of tell people, hey, this is why I got into real estate. This is kind of the reasons I got into real estate. And just so I could send people to the video and I have to answer that flood of, messages I kept getting with the same questions,
Yeah, it's so funny. I remember when that video started taking off, being in our mastermind and calls together and just being like, dude, man, this thing's getting like thousands of views right now. This is crazy. Because I mean, a lot of people weren't using YouTube like they are now. Like now it's like, if you're not on YouTube now and you're in real estate, you're missing a huge opportunity. It's like people are going to YouTube for everything. I'm on there hours a day looking stuff up. So that's pretty cool, man. So you got started with Century 21. I know you went to Keller Williams too as part of your journey, and now you're here partnered with me at EXP. When you first took a look at EXP, I know you were initially resistant, and you're kind of like, "Hey, AJ, I don't really care about it, man. I'm good. I'm selling a lot of houses at Keller Williams." What's the biggest reason why you ended up joining EXP?
Well, I think at the time when you messaged me, I was probably where most agents are, which is you're comfortable, right? You don't have maybe you're not a raving fan per se of your brokerage, or even if you are, but you're also in a position where you're not missing anything or you don't feel like you're lacking anything. So when you're in that middle lane and there's no, in quotes, just like with clients, there's no motivation to do anything, then you don't really look at it, right? But you were always there. And when I was kind of looking for the next thing and really to take it to the next level, because in my mind it was, I'm either going to possibly consider, because of the messages I got from you, taking a look at EXP, or just branching off and starting my own brokerage. Because not to say that I wanted a bunch of agents, but I just wanted to have my own thing and do it my own way and feel like, okay, I can run my own show and not have to deal with all the red tape and, you know, all the politics of having a traditional brokerage, which was starting to make me mad. You know, like I loved the Keller Williams I was at, but, you know, having to talk to the broker, I don't think I ever met the guy, and I would have to wait like a week to get a response via email. I'm like, dude, you know, we're here at the building. How can I not talk to this guy? Right? Like, it doesn't make any sense. And I know it was like that at most brokerages, so it wasn't just that one. That's just one example of something that kind of started making me upset a little bit and feeling like, man, there's extra steps I need to take here just to run my business that I don't feel should be there. Right. Yeah. And when that started sinking in is when I think I reached out to you and I started looking at EXP and saying, okay, well, let's have a chat, because now it's something I'll consider. And right away, you know, it just made sense, man. And even now still, but even more so back then, it was still new and in its infancy. And many of us, you know, we look for that opportunity to join something that we feel has potential in the early stages. It's cool. Like, how many people would love to say, hey, I jumped on Apple when it first was released, or, you know, IBM or whatever it is. And to be there at that moment, I kind of saw that. So where it's going now and where it's headed, I saw that years ago. And that's kind of why I went all in. I was like, all right, dude, I'll join.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And it's been a great journey. It's been about 2 years, a little over 2 years since you joined.
Yeah, about 2 years. Yeah.
Yeah. So, so BC, so you're probably, in terms of total agents sponsored, I would guess that you're probably number one in the company. Overall, you've sponsored well over, I don't know the exact number. If you do, feel free to share, but I know it's over 120 agents that you sponsor. Do you know the exact number?
I don't even know, man. I mean, if you're just including the people that are still active, I think it's 129 or 130 or something like that.
Yeah. So a lot of agents. So that would be number one in the company. And what percentage of those would you say have come from your social media?
Virtually all of them. Yeah. You know, virtually all of them. I've had some discussions with people, or maybe somebody came in from social media that maybe was a friend of mine because we had connected on social media years ago, but they kind of learned about it through following me on social media. So I would say probably like 95+% for sure.
Yeah, that's powerful. And I know you get a lot of referrals still from social media, right?
Oh, a ton, dude. I think just, and this is just what we receive. I believe we receive and close 1.5 to 2 a month at this point. And that's not including what we send out. I'm confident at this point from the checks that we get that I'm closing the referrals sent out at least 2 to 3 a month at this point.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. So social media, if you're at EXP or looking at EXP, it's super powerful to build your revenue share. But also, if you're not at EXP, it's super powerful because you're generating 2 to 3 referrals a month, which is crazy. Yep. So let's get into some tactical advice, how someone could start. Maybe they're just getting started in their journey. Maybe they've been doing it for a while, not having a lot of success, and maybe they just want to get started right off the bat. So which social media platform would you recommend first? And what would you say is some simple advice to get started?
Well, I mean, I'm always the person to tell you to be omnipresent, right? Because at this point I could film let's say as an example, a 2-minute video. I can put that on my Instagram TV and then put that 1-minute preview on my regular Instagram front page. I can upload that to Facebook and also be on the Facebook story and on my wall. I can upload that to YouTube. I can put it on Snapchat, right? So if I'm going to pick one, just because you asked the question, I would definitely tell people to get on YouTube for sure. I am going to recommend everybody does all of them though, because it's not what people think it is. People think you need 1 million followers and 10,000 likes. It's not about that. You know, wherever you're at, if you're watching this, start locally. Make yourself the man in, you know, Jacksonville, Florida, or, you know, DC or wherever it is. You think there's 1 million people online doing it consistently. They're not. And when you start branding yourself like I did here in Southern California, which we know has millions and millions of people, right? And if you guys didn't know, half of the licensed real estate agents in the USA are in California, just so you know. Okay. It's a crazy statistic.
That's wild.
Yeah, it is. So I started branding myself locally. It was then that I expanded. It took me 2 years, bro, to get 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. And I'll have people messaging me now that got 500 in a month and they're complaining that it's too slow. I'm like, what are you talking about, man? And that's how I built my reputation in the beginning. And that's where a lot of the benefits already started coming, because the people who were working with me in my local market on the real estate side were like, oh, okay, you have a couple thousand followers. People forget that, you know, to an average consumer, even if you have 1,000 or 2,000 followers on Instagram, as an example, or 500 followers on YouTube, that's big. You know, everyone's trying to compare themselves to those guys on YouTube who have 20 million, 30 million followers. Well, those guys do entertainment videos and prank videos. Of course, they have 20 million followers. So you need to put this thing in context. And if I have 1,000 or 2,000 followers and my consumer views that as value and unique, and okay, this person, you know, has a stronghold online, that's all I need, because then that's going to help you get that decision from the listing, right? Or with a buyer to trust you a little bit more, to say, okay, this person's hip, they're online, they know what's going on. That's all you need. And when you start at that local level, you build that authority in your local market, which should be your focus in the beginning. Worry about going global and USA later. That takes time, and it took me years to start building that momentum.
Yeah, that's great advice. I love the idea of being omnipresent, especially with technology now. I mean, right now we're streaming on 2 YouTube channels and inside of 2 Facebook groups. And if you guys are watching and have questions, feel free to put them in the comments. We'll answer them as we go. Technology has just changed so much from when we got started in this game. I mean, my wife, I just got her the new the iPhone 11, and like the video and picture quality is insane. Like, you don't need anything else aside from an iPhone at this point, or Droid, whatever, to get rolling with this, and the different technologies for making posting easy. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Like, and people don't need to overcomplicate it. You know, like I always teach people, and I'm curious to see what your thoughts are on this, is post at least once a day to the platforms, like Instagram, Facebook being the big 2, I would say. And it can be the same post. You know, ideally they're different because they're different platforms, and you might have the same followers on both. So you want to have a different, you know, content piece for each one. But if you're busy like I am most of the time, I just put the same thing on both platforms, and I still get likes on both. I still get comments on both platforms. What's like a simple strategy that you implement for just staying consistent with all of this?
Well, and that's the key, man. You know, people need to realize that when you're observed on social media, there's a certain perception that people are going to have of you, right? And you can't control that in a sense, and you can at the same time. So as an example, let's say I'm a brand new agent who's just getting their name out there. If you post every day that you're door knocking, that you're at an open house, that you're making calls, that you're at the office, and you do that on a daily basis over and over and over, now whoever's watching you, your friends, the public, the consumer, the assumption there is you're doing something right and you're productive and you're working. Even if you're brand new, you could have not made a sale yet, but to them, that perception, if they meet you a couple weeks later, is already of somebody who knows what they're doing, who's consistent, and who might be a mover and shaker in the business. Now, where that reality gets shattered is if you show up and you can't put a sentence together, right? So that's when you have to deliver. But that's how people look at it. Now, posting every day, I'm totally in line with that because it feeds into what I just said. But if anybody's having issues with consistency or you know, the production of content, what I always tell people to do is pick a day or 2 in the week where you really sit down for 30 minutes or an hour and you map out your content, what you're going to do, and you just shoot it, right? I'm a little more natural now with it, and I can do stories and all that. Don't even worry about that in the beginning. Just say, hey, I'm going to sit down for 20 minutes. I'm going to write down some ideas on videos, and then pick a time either right then or schedule another 30 minutes or hour later in the week in your schedule to just shoot the videos. I literally, for a lot of videos now, just to prove the point, I shoot them with my iPhone, and I have like a little $10 lavalier mic that clips on here that I got from Amazon. It was like $14.99, dude. And that's it. And I'll literally do that. And this films even the inside way, this way, in 4K, which is incredible, man.
Yeah.
I don't have lights. I don't have, you know, the fancy gadgets and the green screen. Like, I have that stuff over there. I don't even use it. I'm like, dude, why did I buy it? I bought into the hype that I need this crazy production. But if you have decent audio quality like that and you use your phone, you're good to go. It's just a matter of making it a priority, dude. And I think that's where people misstep. It's not a priority. It's, oh, AJ, I'd like to do video. No, you put it in your schedule and you commit to it, you'll do it. but you need to see it as a vital asset for your business and to grow your brand. Because maybe AJ will bring this up later. I've done so much outside of just real estate sales that like when something like this hits, even if they shut real estate down, I'm good because I have multiples of income and I've built other things. So I'm not like sweating bullets like some people saying, oh my God, I can't sell real estate, I'm going to go broke. I'm good. But that's something you can do with that initial beginning of building that consistency and establishing yourself online as a persona, as a brand, and as somebody who, you know, is to be taken seriously.
Yeah. That's a great point that you bring up with the multiple streams of income. Like we live in this economy now, this society that we are all our own personal brand, whether we like it or not. And especially if you're a real estate agent, like, and we can actually get paid to continue to build our brand. The bigger the brand we build, the more we get paid. So we get paid to play, which is really cool. And, you know, you have your modern success course. I think that's probably what you're alluding to, where if real estate shut down, you'd still have this coaching program that you've been able to build because of the great value that you've provided to so many people over the years. And that's why EXP, I think, is so crucial, as well as we have 3 streams of income versus just selling houses. You know, if God forbid, for some reason, you're in a coma for 3 months, when you got revenue share and you got all the stock that you accumulated over the last couple of years, like that is security. So it's super powerful. And then if you want to transition in life to something else, like you have this brand, you have this huge platform. I mean, tomorrow, Bryan, you could leave the real estate industry. This is my perception of what you could do, and still be a 7-figure a year earner because of the brand you've built. And that's pretty cool.
100%, bro. And you know, you look at some of the other opportunities that I've got from it too, even within the real estate space. Like I've met and probably been on stage multiple times with almost every participant from $1 Million Listing, right? All the seasons. I think the only person I haven't met and spoken with is probably, I think, Madison from the LA show, and then maybe Frederick from New York. Everyone else I've met or been on stage with multiple times. You know, international, national stuff, you know, traveling and speaking. But those opportunities and that, in quotes, brand clout of, oh, we're going to bring BC. How was that built? That was built by me without running any fucking ads or any of that stuff, dude. I just built it with my communication and putting my stuff out there. And then in the beginning, all I did was I showed people what I was doing. Hey, I'm door knocking, right? Like you saw. Hey, I'm role playing. Hey, here's a live call. This is my training. I mean, you would even see, dude, I lived in a little, like, literally like rat infested 400 square foot apartment that I would shoot our videos in, our mastermind calls. I would host it from there. You know, you would see that weed poster I had in the background, and I would send those videos to clients, and people would be like, oh my God, you can never send that. But, you know, the information that I was giving the client was good enough for them to forget that stuff. And I just moved past all those little details. So, you know, you look at all the opportunities I've gotten speaking for the Florida Association of Realtors, California Association of Realtors. You know, we've done some collabs with the National Association of Realtors, like myself and Loida, and all the other stuff I've done. And that's just naming a few. How was that built? For free, grassroots style, from putting stuff out on social media, and anybody can do it. I just was the one who put it out the most. Are you willing, if you're listening to this, to show people a little bit about your personal life? Are you willing to show the activities that you're doing on a daily basis? Are you willing to put up a call and then have all the experts in the comment section rip you and tell you how to actually do your job, even though you have no grounds for it? But are you willing to put yourself in that position? Because you are. If you want the attention and the brand, with that comes all the criticism and the negative stuff on the other side. But you have to be willing to deal with it. Are you going to be okay when somebody makes a video about you talking trash about you, right? Are you going to be okay when a consumer comments on your Facebook and says, I would never work with you, right? Which is going to happen anyway. So that's kind of a decision you have to make, because you cannot have all of the praise without the criticism. And I think a lot of people forget that, man. And they want to, well, I want to grow, AJ, but I want everybody to love me. It's not going to happen, man. Not going to happen.
It's so true. And I think a lot of people don't start because of that. They're afraid of what people are going to say or how they're going to criticize you. But I was just having this thought as you were speaking. You know, I'm kind of at the point now with my online presence where I'm getting a little bit of like those negative comments, like on my YouTube channel or something. But I mean, I just passed 1,000 subscribers and I've been on YouTube 5 years, and I'm just now getting that. So most of what we imagine in our heads is what we think's going to happen that never shows up. Yeah, some people might think that you're an idiot doing a Facebook Live or something, or that you're saying something stupid, but no one's actually going to post that until you get big, which allows you to develop this mindset over possibly years to be strong enough to when that does happen, you can handle it. Like now, initially, if someone posted that might have, paralyzed me where I wanted to pull back a little bit. But I've developed this mindset where I could care less. It's like, I always picture, and you're a former, basketball player at a high level, BC, but like I picture like if I had to actually go in an NBA arena with all this fans screaming and shoot a free throw, I would probably just airball it so bad where otherwise I'd usually make it. Right. But like they've had years to get to that stage where we're just like you are. You've had years to get to that stage. And now it's like you have this armor on where none of that even affects you. So that's just kind of a cool image that popped in my head.
And even then, dude, regardless of what you decide to do and how you decide to deliver it or what to talk about, there's always going to be somebody who has something to say, man. Yeah. Like it's just the nature of it. And in the beginning, for most people, it's the people close to them you would expect to get support. And a lot of them are not going to support you. They'll be the biggest criticizers of you doing it, saying, well, why are you doing video, Bryan? Like, that's a waste of time. I heard that from everybody, man. Like everybody. Who's going to listen to you? You're young. You don't know anything. I wouldn't trust you to sell my house and, your family and blah, blah, blah. Almost to the point where you're like, I can't believe that people who know me and who are like related to me by blood are telling me this. If anything, they're supposed to be the number one supporters, right? Yeah. But, that's just the way it is, dude. I figure anytime you stand for anything, you're going to get opposition. That's just the nature of, life. Yeah.
Can you speak for a second to the power of just being on video? Like how, even if it's just a video you record on your iPhone and text it to a client, like now you're on video and you're perceived differently to even a one-on-one interaction on video with somebody. And YouTube just amplifies that, obviously. But like, how does someone's perception change of you once they start seeing you on video?
Man, so much. And I think it's even more powerful now. If you're sending somebody a video, a lot of times you're a lot more likely to be perceived as a go-getter and an expert, for sure, because people forget that if I turn on a camera and I'm with a group of people, everybody gets like shy all of a sudden or hesitant. So it kind of has that same effect as like seeing somebody on TV where you're like, oh my God, like, dude, where I live now, I have random people coming up to me, hey man, like, can I take a picture with you? And it's always awkward because they don't even say anything. They just ask for a picture. And then once I start talking to them and they feel more comfortable, like, oh yeah, dude, I've been following you for so long. Right. And I, in the beginning, would kind of be like, why are they reacting this way, dude? I just do YouTube videos, but it has that effect on people, right? And you have to understand that. So now imagine you make that video, you send it to a client. Now you walk in for a listing appointment or to meet with a buyer consult. They're almost like, oh my God, I'm meeting with AJ. This is cool. So that trust gap is filled. And they're a lot more likely to go with your advice versus sitting there with their arms crossed saying, well, let's see what you got, Number two, it makes people a lot more comfortable because they feel like you're sitting with them. They've seen you. They didn't just hear you over the phone, right? It's a lot more real to them. They feel like, okay, I already know this person. So it breeds more familiarity and comfort with people, which is great. And I think it really allows people to connect with you too, because we discussed earlier, you're going to have your supporters and your naysayers. Well, the people who are going to do business with you are going to be your supporters and they're going to ride with you even more. So if they're watching you on social media, you're staying top of mind, which is an excellent byproduct of this. Every time I talk to people, they're like, dude, every time I open any app, you're the first thing I see. I'm like, good. Because I know when they need real estate, who are they going to think of? Me. They need anything, they're going to think of me. But more than anything, man, it's like putting your database on steroids, I think. It really is for other agents worldwide, for the people who follow you. And it really just further ingrains all the other activities you're doing and it just supercharges them, right? And now moving into 2020 especially, I think it's a necessity, bro, because when I would bring this stuff up to people at appointments or in conversations back in like 2014, 15, 16, they're like, what do you mean you're going to put the home on YouTube and Facebook? What? Now it's like we're seeing people sometimes ask us, well, what do you guys do with video? Are you on social media? And I'm kind of like laughing, saying, dude, a couple of years ago, people were like, why are you wasting your time doing this? Now it's almost like becoming a necessity. So me having a following and a brand, it's now even more valuable, So I just think as time goes on, this is becoming more of a requirement, but it also, if you already have it established, helps you even more.
Yep. It's so true. It's like we're conditioned from the time we're children through media that, the person on TV is the person who's, has authority, is speaking the truth. And, through all that we're going on right now, I think a lot of people are waking up to that. We won't dive into, the media and all that. But that's kind of how, if we look at people in general, we're kind of brainwashed a little bit to put people that are on video on a pedestal, and we can take advantage of that as agents and provide a lot of value for people that need it. I know, being friends with you for a long time, Bryan, the value that you put out and all the people that you have helped through all your content, and it's really cool to see. So we'll start wrapping up here. So in closing, let's just chat real quick on, some super practical advice. Like, what is something, if they're starting from ground zero, that they should do today to move this idea of building their social media presence, their YouTube channel forward?
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of things you can do, man. The first thing is I would let people know a little bit more about you. Right? You can draw the line, being the creator of your content, of how much personal information you want to share. I'm pretty much an open book and will share virtually anything with people. But the more you let people know about you, the more they can connect with you, and the more they can find similarities to connect with. Right? That's a big one. Number two, show people what you actually do. Right? Like, a lot of people have a perception of real estate, and I can tell you from experience, it's flawed 99% of the time. They think many of you just BS at the office and you don't do anything. They think that you're a glorified door opener. A lot of people, even the ones that are willing to pay you, think that. But when you show them that you're making calls, you're meeting with clients, show them a tough negotiation, right? Show them dealing with other agents, show them when the appraisal comes back low and you have to fight it, right? Those kind of things. Now you become almost like a vessel of truth for them. And they feel like, man, this person's really showing me the inside work of what's going on. And filming those little things, guys, doesn't take long. You just have to think, what would be a good thing to show? What's something I can show today or next week, right? Those are two big ones. The last one is this: get hyper focused with showing certain things about your market or your neighborhoods, because that stuff gets searched so much on Google. People are going to search, new homes in, Puerto Rico, right? And they're going to certain city. Then you can put that city and say, San Juan, Puerto Rico, so-and-so subdivision, right? You think a lot of people have made videos about that. They haven't. There's some, but there isn't that many. That's how you can start directing traffic hyper locally to you as being that expert who shows it. And just do a simple video. These are the top 10 things about, this part of the town, right? It's affordable, right? You have a lot of great schools. You're 10-minute walk from the beach, whatever it is. And when you start doing that stuff, you're putting real estate with also your hyper local market. A last one I would give, and I've been doing this for years, and this is huge, is if you follow me, I do this. Feature your areas, the local businesses. Give them a voice. I put my tattoo artist on my Instagram and YouTube all the time. My accountant, I've given him a ton of shout outs. The guy who's been working with even my dad on servicing his cars and my cars, I've made a video promoting him even years ago, and he told me he's gotten a ton of business from it. Local restaurants that I enjoy, I always shout them out and tag them on Instagram too. Start doing videos and marketing for other local businesses and people, because you get your brand out there more while serving others. But number two, you get these hypercharged people in your database who know other people, are going to have real estate needs, and are a little bit more affluent. Business owners have money. Business owners know other business owners. And that's how you can tap into these people who then have luxury homes and better connections to grow your business. You'll get more investors, and it really just helps grow your brand too. And I think those things, dude, are super simple that anybody can do. I don't see people doing it, man. It's a little bit of work.
Yeah, dude, that is such great advice, man. If I'm watching this, I'm immediately after this call rewinding the last 5 minutes for sure, and then taking that actionable advice and growing my following by Monday. I mean, there's just so much that you can do between now and then to really crush it. Cool. Well, hey guys, I appreciate everyone on the call watching and just showing up here. Lots of people live, and I know there will be a lot of people on the replays. So if you have questions, just put them in the comments, and myself and BC will get in there a little bit and answer any questions that you guys might have. And just really appreciate your time, Bryan, and your friendship, man. It's been a fun journey that we've been on over the last 7-8 years, and look forward to continuing that. So we'll do another one of these soon.
Let's do it.